Hey guys, what's up? I get this question every once in a while on where the hell do I find the time to play all these RPGs, all these JRPGs, all these video games. How come I know so much? Where the hell did I find the time to play them throughout my life? How is it possible, some of you ask? And I decided to make an entire video about it because even though the answer is quite simple, it does involve a little bit of history. So I said, hell, why not? Why not make a video about it and tell you guys where the hell do I find the time to play all these RPGs? Where do I begin? I have been playing RPGs, RPG after RPG after RPG and so on. I haven't stopped ever since I was 20 years old. And before that, I have been playing all sorts of video games before that. I wasn't focusing on RPGs. There's this video I made not too long ago called my history with RPGs. I will leave that video at the end of this one so you can watch it for a more detailed explanation on my life, my relationship, my close relationship with RPGs. Pretty interesting. But the thing is that I started non-stop playing RPGs since I was 20 years old. Because when I was 20 years old, I'm 33 years old right now. So I've been playing 13 RPGs for 13 years, one after another. And when I was 20 years old, I got my first PlayStation and I played Chrono Cross. And you know the story. I mean, I fell in love with that game. It was so similar to Super Mario RPG. I mean, in battle mechanics, similar to Final Fantasy Legends 2. And those two had been the only RPGs I had played in my life. Long story. So after Chrono Cross, it was just another RPG after another, and so on, and today nothing has changed. So the question is, where the hell did you find the time to play all these RPGs, all of them? Well, one thing to notice, crucially important, is that I haven't beaten every single RPG I talk about. I mean, that's important to know. People do seem to think that I have beaten every single one of them, and when these people who ask this question are the kind of people who put like 100 hours into every RPG, well, of course it's shocking. Well, you shouldn't think that way. I mean, a lot of people enjoy their games on a simple run from 20 to 40 hours. Yes, it's true, believe it or not. I mean, for those people out there who just can't seem to believe that there are actually gamers who beat their RPGs in less than 40 hours, it's real. Oh yeah, trust me. Anyway, I have beaten like 70 or 75% of the RPGs I talked about. Most of them I have beaten them only once, and it was one of those runs, not exactly a speed run, just to play the game from the beginning to the end. Main story, no side quests, no grinding, no playing on hard level, and that. So most of the RPGs I played all my life, I mean, from that 75%, I would say maybe half of that I have put like 25 to 30 hours on each RPG. I'm not a speed runner, but I'm just not the guy who plays side quests, who really takes the juice out of a game unless I really like it, like Chrono Cross. You know, the first time I played Chrono Cross, I did like 20-something hours. And then the second time, wow, I mean, I did like 40 hours because I was trying to get all characters, all endings, all side quests, uncovering every single secret the game had. So right now I have like 100 hours in that game. So unless I really like the game, I really enjoyed it and I love it, I only play it once. Main story, beginning to end, 20 something hours, maybe 30, I never touch it again. So now that you know that, there are other things that contribute to my answer to that question. Well, when I was 17 years old, I dropped out of high school and got a job at Blockbuster. But back then, parentheses, back then Blockbuster in my country didn't rent video games like maybe in the US. It was only renting movies. Only movies, nothing else. So I worked there for over a year. It's a long story. The thing is that after that, I quit the job like a year and something. I quit Blockbuster and I joined a theater group, and I started studying acting, and then I didn't like it and I quit. To make things short, I was living with my family, with my parents in another city. Then we moved back to Guadalajara, which was where I was born, and it's where I've been living here for the past 13 years. So when I moved back here, I started attending this open high school. I'm not sure if the term open high school, I'm not sure if you know what I mean. I mean, if you're from Mexico or from Latin America, you probably know what I mean by open high school, open school. But it's sort of like, these types of open schools are not the types of schools where you go to from 9 to 5 or from 8 to 2 or 9 to 3 p.m. No, I was only attending for 2 hours and a half every single day from Monday to Friday. And back then I started having other jobs in the afternoons, I mean part-time jobs. And whenever I didn't have a job, which some of those periods were long, like 6 to 8 months, I was once, about 8 months without a job, just going every day to school, 2 hours and a half from 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. So guess what I was doing after school? Playing RPGs. You know, I was so addicted to them, I was so in love with them that I just couldn't wait, you know. Right after school, I would just take the bus back home and put on Final Fantasy VIII or Final Fantasy IX or Chrono Cross or Chrono Trigger. I started with the PlayStation, so it was just RPG after RPG. Eventually, I got the PlayStation 2 when I was 21, and exactly the same thing happened. RPG after RPG after RPG. So eventually, I moved in with my brother. He was living in an apartment, and back then I was starting to role play, online role playing. That means writing stories on Messenger, on blogs, you know, and being a game master. I was a game master. I had my own group of friends who were just playing characters, role playing. And I got so into that my RPG time, it was greatly reduced. I was still playing almost every single day, but like 1 hour per day, maybe 2 hours at max, maybe less, I believe, because most of the time I was just working on another full-time job while I was living with my brother, and then I would just quickly turn on the computer and join my friends and start role-playing. So right after that, things didn't work out with my brother, so I moved out and I came back to my parents' house. And back then I was starting to be a reseller. I loved video games so much that I just wanted to make a living out of them in some way. And the only way I knew back then was precisely that. Just grab a game for a cheap price and resell it for another price, and so on. So this was back in 2009. And back then, I was reselling on this website called Mercado Libre, and that's sort of like the eBay for Latin America. It's the exact same website. And well, back then, my friends, back in 2009, at least in Mexico, I don't know if in the US it's different or in your country it's different, but in Mexico, video game collecting and the video game trending was just beginning. I mean, right now there are dozens of thousands of resellers in the entire country. Like half of the country is a reseller, and I'm serious, at least in my country. But back then we were just a bunch of resellers. I mean, we were maybe a couple of hundred. So the entire country was buying from us. So it was really easy for me to make a living as a reseller during 2009, 2010, and until 2011, when a lot of people found out that you could make a living out of this. So competition began. A lot of people turned into resellers, and that's another story. So when you're a reseller and you don't have a shop or a store and you're just in your house, your entire job is just to go hunt for games, buy them, or make whatever deals you have, trade, whatever. Then you go back home, you take pictures, you publish them on the website. That's it. You gotta wait for people to ask questions or to just buy them, and then you prepare the package to send it. Or if if the customer lives in your city, you just go and deliver the game in some place. I mean, that's the whole job of a reseller, and it is a tough job. I mean, many people underestimate that job. People think that it's just the easiest job in the world. No, it's one of the hardest. But it does have, like any other job in this planet, it does have its ups and downs. One of the ups is that you, of course, indeed, you have a lot of free time. And guess what I use that free time for? To play RPGs. Yes, back then I wasn't winning much money. I wasn't earning that much. But to me, it was enough to just save up enough money to go live on my own someday, which I did. At the end of 2010, I moved into my own apartment, blah blah blah. So the thing is that I had a lot of free time back then as well. I mean, yeah, yes, it's a tough job, but it is also a job that gives you a lot of free time. I mean, while you are there waiting for things, your 200 games, your whole merchandise to sell, you have nothing else to do than just to buy video games, to play video games. Because if you already spend your entire capital on merchandise, you have no more money to purchase more video games to resell. What do? Nothing at all. Play video games. That was my case. So time went on. Eventually I got my own shop, a very small shop, a kiosk, I don't know how it is pronounced. It was a very, very small shop back in 2012. And back then, well, I thought it was going to be different. I thought I was going to have a lot of responsibilities, but I didn't. I would just go onto my store, maybe clean, attend some customers, sell some stuff, but the rest of the day was just me sitting on my ass playing RPGs. So after I closed my shop and moved to England, and then came back from England and reopened the shop and didn't work, and I revived this channel and turned it into English and RPG oriented. After all of that, I finally found the time to keep playing more and more RPGs. But to be honest with you, I have never stopped, not even once. Yes, there have been times in which I have been very busy, but even in those times, I always try to find time to play RPGs. I mean, I love them so much. It's not that I'm obsessed with them or I am negatively addicted to them, no. But I really love them. I mean, it's my favorite hobby, it's my favorite passion, and I just love them so much. I really can't stop playing them. So I always try to find the time to sit down, grab the controller of whatever console I have, and just play an RPG for like an hour or 2 hours per day minimum. And right now, ever since last year, by the end of last year, this YouTube channel has become not my full-time job, but I'm very near to having it as my full-time job, thanks to you guys and thanks to all my patrons who have been supporting me on patreon.com. I think I'm really close to making this as my full-time job, and I'm still reselling, but I have been reselling less and less ever since last year because it's just insane right now. I mean, every single person out there is a reseller, and a lot of people just don't want to buy anymore because they already have everything they want, or they're just buying on the internet, on Amazon, on eBay, on Mercado Libre, and a big etc. So the competition is really astonishing, and it's extremely hard nowadays to make a living out of a reseller. and so I'm reselling less and less. Therefore, I have this almost my entire time has been focusing on this channel, exclusively on this channel. And therefore I have to play a lot of RPGs. I mean, I've been streaming this game, and besides this, I'm playing yet another RPG right now. It's called Valkyria Revolution, also on the PS4. And you know, I could go on and on, but it's the same answer. I mean, like I said at the beginning, the answer was pretty simple, you know. To make matters short, I could have just said at the beginning, where the hell do you find the time to play all these RPGs? Well, because I have always had the luck to have a lot of free time to dedicate it to RPGs, which is maybe why I managed to make this channel successful. I mean, if I hadn't played all those RPGs, maybe I wouldn't be here today. I would make like one video per month, maybe. And the fact that I don't speedrun, but just sort of like a speedrun most of my RPGs, or half of the RPGs I play, that's pretty much it. But like you saw, I mean, it involved a lot of story, a lot of personal story, of kind of jobs I have had in my life, etc. So yeah, that's it, guys. That's my story. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I answered your question, and I hope I made a whole lot of sense on as to why or where do I find the time to play all these RPGs. That's it. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and share this video with your friends. See you next time.